Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. I hope your day is going smoothly, because what we're about to discuss has taken even seasoned followers by surprise. Today's story centers on two of the most magnetic figures in Turkish entertainment, Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir. The information surfacing right now is as startling as it is emotional, and it's raised more questions than answers. If you've adored their journey on screen and off, or you simply love staying on the pulse of celebrity buzz, stay close, because things are about to get intense. And before we go deeper, if you haven't already, tap subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what we uncover next on Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Sometimes the couples we root for most, the ones who make us believe in chemistry, in timing, in destiny, throw us the most unexpected turns. That's exactly what's happened with Can and Demet. For years, simply saying their names together suggested charm, glamour, and a bond that felt both cinematic and, at times, disarmingly real. Many fans believed their connection was not only enduring but inevitable. The glamour of their careers blended with the glow of their public moments, and the line between fiction and reality blurred in a way that made people feel like witnesses to a modern fairy tale. It's no secret their story was fueled by unforgettable work. Their on-screen partnership in Erkenci Kuş catapulted them into a rare space, one where a series becomes a movement and two performers become symbols of an entire era of television romance. Their scenes became references, their interviews became clues, and their sporadic joint appearances sent fandoms into a frenzy. Even when they pursued separate projects, there was always a pulse of expectation, an unspoken hope that the arc would circle back to the beginning, where the spark first ignited. But this is where the jolt arrives. December 29, 2025, brought news that no one had queued up on their bingo card. It wasn't a surprise collaboration, nor a quiet engagement reveal, nor a whisper about starting a family. What leaked, and then roared across timelines, was something entirely different. It has overturned what fans thought they knew, nudged people to rethink assumptions, and stirred a conversation that refuses to quiet down. According to accounts fueling today's storm, the relationship between Can and Demet has reached a pivotal crossroads. Some call it a breaking point, others, a sharp turn into an unknown chapter. The word separation is everywhere, but it's not being used lightly. The reasons rumored behind this potential split aren't superficial. They point to deep shifts. Evolving priorities, diverging life choices, and inner conflicts that weren't visible to those watching from the outside. It's the kind of development that doesn't just slip out, it bursts into the open and leaves ripples in every direction. Let's think about the impact. Demet, a force of charisma with a career that keeps scaling new heights, and Can, a leading man with a distinctive screen presence and international allure. Together, they've been a kind of shorthand for Turkish television romance done right. Their story, or at least the narrative that formed around them, has been picked apart in interviews, red carpet signals, and carefully framed social updates. The arrival of today's news forces a reset. And that reset doesn't happen quietly, it echoes through fan communities, media circles, and even among their colleagues, who know the cost of being watched while simply trying to live. Social media has responded exactly as you'd expect, by turning their names into a global trending topic. The split between reactions is stark, disbelief for some, sadness for many, and a flurry of theories for others. There are threads reconstructing timelines, compilations of past quotes, side-by-side comparisons of past posts. In the blink of an eye, people have started rereading everything, searching for clues that, perhaps, were never there. And yet the affection for both of them is palpable. Messages of support have poured in from fans who just want them to be okay, together or apart. The tricky part is that official information remains thin. Sources close to the pair are keeping their counsel, and as of now, neither Can nor Demet has issued a comprehensive statement. If there are comments, they're elusive, if there are hints, they're subtle. This silence, understandable as it may be, has left a vacuum. And in that vacuum, rumors multiply. Theories about third parties surface and vanish, minor gestures turn into supposed declarations, and cryptic captions are treated like puzzle pieces. The circus is in full swing, and yet at its center are two individuals who may simply be trying to make a complicated choice in peace. On Turkish Spotlight Secrets, we want to look beyond the storm and understand the phenomenon. Why do their private crossroads matter so much to us? Perhaps because for years, they represented possibility. The romance that blooms against odds, the triumph shared by two people who knew how to make magic on set and seemed to carry a glow with them off it. When they let us glimpse a laugh behind the scenes, a smile on a carpet, or a supportive comment at just the right time, they drew us closer. Those moments didn't just entertain us, they made us feel connected to their journey. With Can and Demet, that connection felt especially intense. Erkenci Kuss wasn't just a show. It was a catalyst that made many believe in serendipity. Watching them navigate the demands of fame, take on new roles, and speak thoughtfully about their careers, fans saw a duo maturing under the brightest lights. A hope took root that the resilience required to succeed professionally would also buoy them through personal waves. Today's revelation challenges that hope, or at least reframes it, suggesting that growth sometimes demands distance, and love can take forms that the public doesn't immediately understand. So where does this leave their careers? On one hand, a narrative like this can become a burden, every interview becomes a minefield, every scene read for subtext. On the other, it can grant space, allowing each of them to step forward on their own terms, with their artistry front and center. Perhaps this is the poignant trade-off of public love stories. The parts we cherish most are also the parts most vulnerable to scrutiny. The key for them, and for those of us watching, may be to treat the next beat not as a tabloid twist, but as the beginning of separate, meaningful evolutions. It's impossible to ignore the cathedral of speculation built on a few bricks of suggestion. Some say that travel schedules and international commitments strained the bond. Others point to differences in how each envisions family and work. There are whispers about new friendships that turned heads, about late-night likes on posts that sparked wild guesses. And then there are those who insist the heart of it is much simpler, two people changing, acknowledging the change, and choosing honesty over performance. For all our fascination, that last explanation may be the most human of all. If you look closely, you can see how we arrived at this moment. Months of solo promotions, captions focused on self-growth, an emphasis on routine and discipline in Can's offset life, Demet sharing reflective moments and celebrating her own milestones. None of these signs are proof of anything, of course. But in the context of today's echo, they take on weight, color, texture. It's a reminder that even when we aren't being told a story, our minds will write one anyway. And yet, let's not lose sight of the heart of this. Behind every headline is a person waking up to a decision that wasn't easy yesterday and won't be easier tomorrow. The real work of love, of untangling expectations, of admitting to fears, of letting go of what no longer fits, plays out far from the cameras. If Can and Demet are making or have made such a decision, it deserves restraint from those of us looking in. The empathy we extend now will matter more than the theories we spin. Still, there's no denying how much this shifts the cultural conversation. For years, they have been a touchstone, the example fans used when talking about sparks that feel real. People invested in their arc because it shielded them from cynicism. If a fairy tale could survive the industry's grind, maybe the world wasn't as harsh as it seemed. Today isn't the end of that hope, but it does invite a more nuanced version of it. One that respects the messiness of real life and allows both of them the grace to choose differently without making them villains in the story they once shared. This is where it's helpful to ask a tougher question: do we love these stories because they distract us, or because they reflect us? Maybe both. Can and Demet's journey mirrors a truth many live quietly: sometimes the person you grew with is not the person you must grow beyond, but the person you must grow beside from a distance. That idea stings, but it can also be freeing. It suggests that admiration doesn't have to fade when romance shifts form, it can transform into respect, into goodwill, into a kind of cheering that doesn't demand possession. For now, we wait. We watch for a carefully worded note, a joint message, or perhaps a pair of separate posts that line up not with drama, but with dignity. We listen for the interviews where they redirect attention to work, to new scripts, to the challenge of creating when the world feels intrusive. We let them be the authors of the next chapter. Because if they taught fans anything, it's that timing matters, and that the best scenes aren't always the most explosive, but the ones that ring true long after the credits roll. On this channel, we've sifted through what's known, acknowledged what isn't, and tried to hold space for empathy in between. We've recalled why Can and Demet became such a phenomenon in the first place and how today's development reshapes that image. It's a stark reminder that nothing in public life is as simple as it seems, and that the narratives we adore are carried by real hearts. Life at its core is unpredictable, and even the brightest love stories are not immune to the turns it demands. Now it's your turn, the heartbeat of our community. Tell us what you felt when you first saw the news. Were you shocked? Did you expect a shift, even slightly? What do you believe this means for their careers moving forward? Will the space create new momentum, or will the scrutiny become an obstacle? Share your thoughts below. We want to hear from those who have supported them from the earliest episodes, from those who found them later, and from those discovering their work now. Thank you for spending this time with us on Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If this deep dive moved you or gave you a clearer lens, tap like. It truly helps us keep going. Pass this video along to friends who have stayed loyal to Can and Demet, who cherished their on-screen summer nights and kept rooting for them through every award and rumor. And if you haven't joined our family yet, now is the moment. Subscribe, ring the bell, and stay close. We have more stories coming, more conversations to hold, and more care to bring to the narratives that captivate us. Whatever comes next for them. Whether parallel journeys or intersecting paths again someday, we'll be here to watch with respect. Until then, take good care, and we'll see you in the next video.